This year we have a total of 54 employees retiring from our school system. Collectively, they have 1,270 years of service. Incredibly, we have 19 employees who are retiring with 30 or more years of service. Tonight, as we honor 33 of the 54 employees who are retiring, I want to recognize those who were unable to attend this dinner tonight. I'd like for us to show our appreciation to them by announcing their names before we get started, and after each name is announced, then we can certainly congratulate them with a round of applause. The names are Patricia Alexander, Veterans Memorial, 24 years of service. You can clap if you'd like to do that. Catherine Bonnell, Clements Middle, 20 years of service. Charles Boyum, Newton High School, 34 years of service. Leslie Burns Steele, Hurd Mixon, 31 years of service. Lisa Ciuffatelli, Middle Ridge Elementary, 12 years of service. Carolyn Cooksey, Rocky Plains, 22 years of service. Suzanne Dye, Indian Creek Middle, 14 years of service. Barbara Ewing in our transportation department with 18 years of service. Nancy Hanby, Rocky Plains Elementary, 12 years of service. Michelle Jaselnik, Newton County Theme School at Fickwit, 36 years of service. James C. Johnson in our transportation department, 11 years of service. Linda Lauder, Livingston Elementary, 6 years of service. Mary Emily O'Sullivan, Veterans Memorial Middle, 34 years of service. Belinda Pendley, Flint Hill Elementary, 18 years of service. Madeline Phipps, I'll get it straight here, South Salem Elementary, 11 years of service. Willie M. Reed, East Newton Elementary, 10 years of service. James Sermon, Newton High School, 15 years of service. Mary A. Southard, Middle Ridge Elementary, 23 years of service. Sarah West from our Office of Special Education, Central Office, 21 years of service. Kathleen S. Williams, Eastside High School, 20 years of service. Cheryl Williams, Fairview Elementary, 36 years of service. Let's give them all a round of applause. Now we are going to recognize our 33 retirees by school or department. As your principal or supervisor comes to the front with you, please come to my right by way of our board members who would like to shake your hands and offer congratulations to you. Then proceed to my left over here until your principal or supervisor completes his or her remarks. At the end of the reception, you may pick up your engraved retirement gift at the table in the back. We begin our ceremony this evening with Dr. Lori Thomas, Principal, Flint Hill Elementary, to be followed by the other administrators in the order as listed in your program. So, Dr. Thomas.
Good evening. The baby ducks did not follow the mama. You gotta shake hands.
Congratulations. Thank you for your service. Congratulations.
Okay, come back. Come back. Now y'all know why I'm retiring them. No, I'm teasing. I could not be more fortunate to introduce two such just very special and lovely people to you. I've had the opportunity to work with both for quite a while. Miss Maddox and I actually worked together at Fickwit when I was a beginning AP, so she's put up with me for a long time. And then again, we were able to work together at Flint Hill. And so let me tell you a little bit about Miss Maddox. She has 33 years of service, all with Newton County Schools. She started her work actually in the Psycho Ed Center that used to be called Crossroads as a parapro for Mr. C. So they've been a pair for a long time, but she was at Crossroads for 14 years and loved working so much as a parapro and was so good at her job, was encouraged to become a teacher, and that she did, and did a great job as a teacher. And after 14 years at Crossroads, went over to Fickwit, where she worked until it closed, and she then helped us open Flint Hill. And I tell you, I can tell you something very special about this. She didn't write on her paper for me to share, but I've been an administrator just under 10 years, and the one thing that's very impressive about Miss Maddox, she does a lesson. If you've never seen a lesson plan, you should look at her lesson plans. They are amazing, and they're required to be on the computer, but she always handwrites them first with perfect penmanship and a complete lesson plan. I mean pages per child. Per child. Every child gets their own lesson plan for every subject of every school day. So if there's something to be learned about lesson planning and the hours that she puts in to have the children find the success they find, Miss Maddox has put in, I mean, I usually leave at 6 and she's still there. So she's just been very dedicated for many, many years, and the whole time I've known her, it's been that way. So that's something she wasn't going to share, but I did want you to know. And I asked her, what are you going to do now that you're not at Flint Hill until 7:30? I mean, she's there when I get there at 6:30. I don't know what time she gets there. She must go in with the custodians. And she's there when I leave. So I'm not so sure if she really has a home. I keep looking for her bed in the school. But she is more than dedicated, and we have truly enjoyed, I've learned from her, and I've enjoyed working with her. But in retirement, she is going to travel with her 9 sisters. That's probably where she learned to be prepared. She loves attending Atlanta sporting events, especially the Falcons. This is a big Falcons fan here. And she's going to be attending some games with her grandson, who will be graduating from Newton High this year. So all in the family here. She loves working in her yard and tending in her garden, and she loves to exercise, and she wants to become more involved with her church and community now that she has some time, and she does come back to our school. I don't know that she really quit working once she retired. She's still there. So Miss Maddox, we will miss you. Thank you. And Mr. C, who helped her get her start as a parapro, Mr. George Tuffy. We too have worked together at Palmer Stone and Flint Hill. He helped open up Flint Hill. And he has been working a total of 33 years as well, with 23 of those years being in Newton County. So he too has spent a lot of time in the field of education. And Mr. C, one of the awesome things about him is he is just a delight. It does not matter what we need to accomplish or what grade we need him to teach, or if it's resource or co-teach. I'll say, now Mr. C, we're going to have to change your schedule this year. Okay, well, who am I going to be working with? So he's worked with our 5th graders all the way down to our kindergartners. And it's just such a delight to go in and see him work with the boys and girls. And he says that he loved being a part of a school and opening up a brand new school. He really enjoyed that this year. And I said, well, you have this time on your hands now. What are you going to do? And he says he is going to play tennis. He's going to do some traveling. And I liked this one. He likes to eat out at nice restaurants. So his wife has got some good things ahead of her. He's multi-talented. He does play the guitar, so he's going to spend some time playing his guitar and listening to music, mountain driving, watching some good movies, reading a good book, And he enjoys car shows. He sponsored one for our Relay for Life team before, and driving at the racetrack. So that car zooming by, it might be him. But thank you, Mr. Satulski, for your service to the children, and we'll miss you.
Absolutely. Congratulations. Thanks for all you've done.
Good evening. I have the pleasure of presenting to you Miss Perry Walden. Now, if any of you have ever worked with elementary school students, you know that they know all of the things that are going on in the school. So if you ever want to know what's happening at your school, ask the children. So unbeknownst to you, I snuck into your classroom and I said, "What do you love about Miss Walden?" So the children said the following. They said, "She's sweet, she smells nice, she taught me how to read, and last but not least, she loves me." So on behalf of all of the students and staff members of Live Oak, thank you for your years of service. We appreciate you and we wish you many happy years of retirement.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And I have the pleasure tonight of introducing to you Miss Gloria Jean Capel and Mr. Bill Addison. When I went to Livingston as a teacher in 1992, Miss Capel was in the lunchroom. And she was a face that we saw every day, day in and day out, for all of those years. And then, of course, I left Livingston to go elsewhere, and then I told her I would be back, and I was, and so we've continued to have good times working together. Mr. Addison I did not know, but when I got back to Livingston, he was there as well, and he has been a joy to get to know. I want to just tell you a little bit about, first of all, Miss Capel. She actually went to school at Livingston herself, 1st grade through 8th grade. She played basketball and she was a cheerleader. And now that she's retired, she's spending time with her husband. Also, I know that she volunteers and takes some of the elderly people in her church to doctor's appointments and all that good stuff. So she's just kind of living a good life. She actually retired before school started this year, so she's kind of a pro. Mr. Addison also retired in December, and he's had some health issues, but he looks forward to getting well and then being able to play golf, teach his daughter to drive, and all the fun that goes with that. And he too is a pro at retirement since he's been there now since Christmas. And I wish them both the very best. You're very special people, and I'm thankful that I had the opportunity to get to know them, and I'm thankful that our children at Livingston had an opportunity to know them.
That's not Linda Nardo. You would be right. Where's Dr. Matthews? Dr. Matthews always made this speech at the administrators' meeting before retirement. He'd say, "Now keep it short. We don't have enough time for you to talk about everybody a whole bunch of time." See, the problem is then he signed my checks. Y'all have already sat down. Okay, good. 1 year retired tonight. I'm celebrating it. Let me tell you, if anybody tells you it's a bad thing, it's not. You'll love it. You will love it. I'm here tonight because Linda Nardo's a very big person, and she realized how much these three people meant to me in Mansfield School. I want to introduce to you about 97 years of experience. Most of it here in Newton County. A good bit of it at Mansfield. First, Miss Elsie Smith has worked in food service in Newton County for a number of years. She's been 33 years of experience. Her last several years at Mansfield, where she has loved and taken care of our pre-K and all of our teachers, and she's even been known to throw an extra spoonful of dressing on a principal's plate every now and then. And there is one thing in common about these three women. They are all marvelous women of faith. They will talk to you about their relation with the Lord. And if you stay in elementary for over 30 years, you better have a good relationship with the Lord. Next, Miss Chris Bender is on the end. I'm going to talk about her next because I'm going to talk about them in order of their experience at Mansfield. Chris came to Mansfield when I did. So she had to, I just thought about that, Lynn. Chris made 19 years with me at Mansfield. Joan made 19 years with me at Mansfield. Here you've been in charge 1 year and they're retiring. No, they both just wanted to make sure I was gone before they had anything, and then you messed the whole thing up for them. Chris came with me when we went to Mansfield, and I think we both felt like we had died and gone to heaven. It was a tremendous, tremendous experience to know them both. Miss Bender and Miss Castellano have both taught my kids, and you find out more about someone from your kids than you do either one. And when I told them I was coming tonight, might say a few words. They both wanted, all three of my children wanted me to say to y'all collectively how much you meant to them. And even in Miss Bender's case, my daughter said, "Will you please apologize to her for the way I terrorized her after school?" So they were people, another mark of both Joan and Chris. Tremendous wives, tremendous mothers. So you have a wife, you have mother, you have a Christian faith. You put those together, and usually you'll get a real good teacher. Folks, these teachers are off the chart. They took leadership positions. They loved children. They would take the toughest child and love them into learning. And we like to say at Mansfield, we are family, and they were the heart of our family. And then I saved Joan to last because, like Miss Capel from Livingston, she is one of those, as I am, who can claim that we matriculated at that fine institution ourselves. And she spent her years of elementary school as a Mansfield student and came and spent 30 years there as a teacher too. So about 37 years of her life, all but about 5 have been spent at Mansfield. So I just want to say thank you to Lynn for letting me be able to say thank you, ladies, for your years of service at Mansfield. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am very excited to talk to you today about a lady who has spent 34 years of her life educating our students in Newton County. On behalf of Middle Ridge Elementary School and Herd Nixon, this is Donna Wands, and she has spent 34 years in Newton County, and she teaches our English language learners. After talking to the students about Miss Wands, these are some of the adjectives they gave us. She rocks. She is respectful, makes me smile, role model, super fun. She's cute. She's a special teacher. I would like to say that I've got to know her the very short time that I've been at Middle Ridge, and she's always gone the extra mile. I know that she will go pick parents up for conferences, bring them to the school, and then take them home. It takes a very special person to do that, and we love her very much. But I had a student write a poem for her. This is from Pedro Gamino to you, Miss Wands. Miss Wands is the best teacher in the world. She is good and kind. Miss Wands makes learning fun, especially in math. School is easy because of her. I love you, Miss Wands. So after 34 years, we say goodbye, but you're always in our hearts, and we always welcome you to come back. So on behalf of Middle Ridge and Herd Nixon, we love you and we'll miss you.
And good evening. It's my privilege to introduce to you Miss Karen Witchy. Miss Karen, as we call her at school, has served for 11 years in food services. She always has a smile on her face, and she's very kind to the youngsters. She makes incredible chicken salad, which we've noticed since they changed someone out. It's not as incredible any longer. But we will miss Miss Karen. She does a marvelous job. She plans on traveling and visiting with her family in her retirement. Next, I'd like to recognize Miss Sandra Whitney. Miss Sandra, yes, we're in elementary schools, we do that. Miss Sandra's been a school nurse for 10 years, and she's just dynamic. We missed her so much that when our newly hired nurse left, we hired Miss Sandra back again to sub for us. She's marvelous. She has wonderful communication skills with the parents. Time and time again, she'll say, yes, that you have to come pick them up. The temperature's 101. I can't put them on the school bus. And she has such a nice way that she can kind of guilt the parents into doing that. We missed her while she was gone, but we're delighted that she's back with us. And in her retirement, she plans on spending time with her grandson and traveling. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Holly Du Bois, principal of South Salem Elementary. It's my privilege and honor tonight to introduce to you Miss Mary Peters and Miss Carrie Mae Smith. 5 years ago when I opened South Salem, I had lots of new faces and names to learn, and those of you who know me very well know that I'm not really good with names. So the first couple of people I meet is Miss Mary and Miss Martha in the kitchen. For some reason, I could not get Mary and Martha straight. Who was Mary? Who was Martha? They informed me they were both in the Bible, and to get it right. I'm going to stop right there with that story, Miss Mary. And then there was Miss Carrie Mae, and she's such a fun delight. But then I also had Miss Charlie Mae. Carrie Mae, Charlie Mae. I never think I got that right, did I? I just finally said, Miss May, somebody come help me. But these are just two fantastic women. Starting with Miss Mary Peters, who's one of our wonderful lunchroom ladies. And we have a wonderful bunch of ladies that feed us, as you can tell, very well at South Salem. And I'm always running into the kitchen going, Miss Mary, can I borrow a spatula? Miss Mary, can you maybe make us an apple pie for next week? Can you cook 200 potatoes for the teachers? Can we have a luncheon for this? And always with a smile on her face, yes, we'll make it work. Yes, we'll make it work. And they always do, and they do an amazing job. I did some math at GW. Please don't correct me if I'm wrong here a little bit. So this is rough math. You have worked at South Salem. You've worked in the county for 10 years, Newton County, before coming to South Salem and helping us open the school. And you have worked at South Salem 896 school days. You have prepared 800 lunches a day. 800 lunches a day. And that's about 716,000 lunches. You have served approximately 448 100,000 breakfasts in your day. That's over 1 million meals. Take that, McDonald's. Now, if you had just charged, if they just paid you $1 for every meal you made, you could have retired a long time ago. A long time ago. I'm going to miss your sweet smile back there in that kitchen and your laughter and cutting up and keeping all those ladies straight back there. You're an amazing woman, and I just love you so much. Thanks for all you do for the students and the faculty and everyone in Newton County Public Schools. Now, Miss Carrie May, I've been dying to tell this story. Miss Carrie May started off, she's been serving 29 years in the custodial department here in Newton County Public Schools. She started off at Newton High School, moved to Sharp, went to Cousins, went to Oak Hill, found her way, and helped me open South Salem Elementary. So she quickly let me know that she had worked at Cousins and had worked for my father-in-law, Mr. DuBois. And so we kind of had a weekly ritual. She'd come in and start dusting my office and moving stuff around. And she'd say, well, how's Mr. DuBois doing? I said, oh, Miss Carrie May, he's doing good. He's doing really good. Oh, Mr. DuBois, he's the best principal I ever worked for. And I'd say, well, what about me? He's the best principal I ever worked for. We did that, I think, every week for as long as you've been at South Salem. Your smiling face, your sense of humor, always making me laugh, always checking on everybody. These two ladies right here have a beautiful heart, a beautiful soul. Nobody's going to enjoy their retirement more than these ladies, and they so deserve it. And both of you better stay out of the casinos.
Education is a passport to the future, for the future belongs to those who prepare for it today. To me, there is nothing more honorable than a teacher. A teacher who can spill into a child the willingness to want to learn, to inspire them to come to school every day. And in front of you are the three ladies who do that at Cousins Middle School every day since I've been there. I know this evening is not about me. However, for this last week, in contemplating, I thought we had an agreement that they were going to wait on me, but I was told this evening that was absolutely not true. However, I cannot help but continue to consider how this affects me and what I lose in three excellent teachers at Cousins Middle School. I want to introduce to you on the end Miss Karen Green with 29 years of educational service. She's an outstanding teacher of all subjects. I believe she's taught 7th grade and 8th grade while I've been there at Cousins. Currently, she is a science teacher who inspires children to learn every day through technology, through instructional notebooks, and each and every day they are learning science. Ms. Green, no matter what, every day greeted me with a smile. Now, middle school students are very, very special. They are. They are wonderful, special people. And every day is not always filled with smiling. However, Ms. Green always found a way to make it a pleasant day. And what I will miss in her is that smile, being greeted every day, no matter what is going on. Next, Ms. Helm, with 33 years of service, all of them being at Cousins Middle School, I believe. Ms. Helm is currently 7th grade language arts teacher. And I will always remember one very special year Ms. Helm and I had together, and I think she does remember also. As I said earlier, middle school students are wonderful people. They're very, very, very special. And Ms. Helm No matter what it is I've asked her to do in dealing with our very, very special students, she only smiled back and said, "Okay, Ms. Middlebrooks, I'm going to see if I can do that." And she did. She has inspired some pretty tough children. She has taken on the responsibility of taking our struggling children and teaching them how to write. And she does that very well. She's been doing that now for me for several years. And we might start out with one plan and one group of students, and we go back and we restructure, and we realize we need to identify another group, and she takes them on. She brings them in, she shows them the Helm way, and they become successful. And last but certainly not least, Ms. Kim DeLong, with 34 years of educational experience. Not all of them in Newton County, not all of them at Cousins Middle School, but certainly very special to me indeed. It takes a very special person to be able to teach and be successful at both ends of the spectrum. Ms. DeLong can teach reading to not just gifted kids, which is what she does every day, teaches reading and writing. She also teaches reading to very low kids, kids who struggle with achievement, who I shouldn't use the word low for. However, she brings them in, teaches them the DeLong way, and you see a different student when they struggle. All of a sudden, they believe they're successful, and what they bring us is the truth, that they are successful. She does that not only for those struggling kids, but the gifted kids. Her aim immediately was to make sure that students not only met standards, but exceeded them. And she has always been very successful with working with her students, no matter what level they came in. So, I guess I'll have to get over how this affects me as I lose 3 wonderful teachers. However, I do not believe they will be very far. I found a poem, yes, a poem, I did not write it, that I do believe reflects what happens in retirement with great educators. It says, "Today we pause when we reflect. Our hearts tell us that we're correct. You always are a teacher." Teachers aren't really retired. That's just how the brain is wired. You always are a teacher. You have so much to share and give. It's just the way you really live. You always are a teacher. If first teaching made you queasy, years of practice made it easy. You always are a teacher. You may not need a word to say. Your light keeps shining bright as day. You always are a teacher. The time has come, your homework's done. We wish you ever so much fun. You always are a teacher. We will miss you in the classroom. New fields awake to see you bloom. You always are a teacher. May you shine on in words and deeds, the wisdom that this world needs. You always are a teacher. As we show appreciation, may you have this satisfaction. You always are a teacher. And from me, on the behalf of Cousins Middle School, we want to thank you for your years of service.
I'm Renee Mallard, and I am the principal of Indian Creek Middle School, and it is my pleasure to introduce Miss Ann McGinnis. And she worked in the cafeteria, providing 22 years of service. That's a lot of kids to take care of and to feed, and a lot of adults too. She started at Indian Creek when it opened, and that was back when there was actually a fryer in the building and they could salt stuff. The good old days. She was very dependable and reliable. She would help anyone do anything. And her work ethic was remarkable. Remarkable. She would come in early, and not 10 minutes early, an hour early, because she didn't like to be rushed, and she wanted to be ready for her day. She could joke with the kids, which isn't always easy with middle school students because they tend to be very literal and look at you and wonder if you're kidding or not, but she was able to make them smile. She was a rule follower, which is a cafeteria manager's dream, because that's good for food services and the federal government, but not good if you owed 30 cents and left your purse in the room. She kept that tray, but she looked away when I was sampling the fried okra that day. She's still a part of Indian Creek, and she always will be. She is fondly remembered, and her grandchildren, or her grandchild, is there, so she's still part of our family every day. We talked at the dinner table about what she's doing, and she is able to finally do the things and spend time on what she really wants to be doing. She gets to spend time with her family, she gets to spend time at home, and she gets to spend time taking care of her own children and her grandchildren instead of other people's children, which she's done for so very long. So I would like to thank her for her years of service and the time that she spent taking care of me while I was at Indian Creek and all of the thousands of students that she touched every single year. Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Keisha Taylor, and I'm the principal of Liberty Middle School. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about Miss Eunice Jones. Miss Jones has 27 years of service, all here in Newton County. She started at Fickwit, she served 3 years at Middle Ridge, she transferred to Clements, and now she's ended up with us at Liberty Middle. So I feel like more people should be up here with me to thank her for her years of service. What I will say about Miss Jones works in our Sid Pit classroom as a paraprofessional. And you work with those students, and you can sometimes get dirty because they may spit up on you or you're helping to feed them. Miss Jones is the best dressed paraprofessional you will ever meet. She is never dirty. Even if they're outside, she will still have on a three-piece suit. So this is the best dressed paraprofessional in the county. She really has a sweet disposition. The students know that she loves them, and it's evident in the way that she talks with them. She treats them like they're her own personal children. Miss Jones, you will be truly missed. The next person, this is a unique opportunity for me. Miss Connie Edmonds is my 7th grade science teacher. So that's special to me. So she can retire now because she said she got something right. She was my 7th grade science teacher. She was also one of the teachers that hosted me when I did my student teaching, and now she's retiring from the school for which my first year of principalship. I really miss Miss Edmonds. She has a sweet disposition as well. But when I asked, what are you going to do during your retirement, it was funny. She had a list of things. I was like, she's already been thinking about this. So she's learning to play the guitar. She's taking it on karate. She's going to play in her garden, and she's going to join the Henry County Players Theater. So she already has her plans laid out for retirement. Next we have Mr. Buck. Mr. Buck served as a language arts teacher at Liberty, but he also worked at Rainbow Lake and Challenge Charter. So that lets you know that Mr. Buck has a knack for working with some of the more challenging students. He thinks he's retiring, but I already have a volunteer badge ready for him. He's joining us for field day, and he plans to come back next year to help us out. So I do appreciate all of your years of service at Liberty Middle School and in Newton County School System. Thank you.
Good evening, I'm Jeff Jarrett, I'm principal of Eastside High School, and this is such an honor for me. I'm going to start first by recognizing Mr. Don Duke. Mr. Don Duke is the facilities coordinator, has been the facilities coordinator at Eastside High School. And as I began my teaching career, Mr. Duke was one of the first people that I met. I was told by my head football coach to go in that building and get you some keys. So I went in there to find some keys, and they said, Don Duke has all the keys. I said, all right, I got to find Don Duke. So Don Duke, I said, Mr. Duke, I'm new here, and I need some keys. And he brought out the largest key ring that I've ever seen in my entire life. He thumbed through about 3 or 4 of them and handed me the key, and he said, that's all you'll need. But I've seen Mr. Duke on a field, under an engine, in a classroom, under a desk, in a locker, in a bathroom, all sorts of places. And every time there's a job to be done, we say, Mr. Duke, can you do something about it? And he'll pause for a second, and he'll just stroke his beard, just kind of think about it. Yeah, I think we can do something about it. And he always did. And so we're so proud of Mr. Duke and his time at Eastside High School. Beside Mr. Duke, to his right, is Miss Mary Lou Grimes. And Ms. Grimes has been a teacher for us in our business education, our CTAE program. She's been a department chair. If you need to know about that Word document and why the spacing doesn't quite line up the way you think it ought to, or your Excel spreadsheet or your PowerPoint, all those things, counting and everything else that she's been teaching, she's an expert at it. And I'll let you know that she's one that's retiring at the top of her game. After 30 years, she's retiring at the top of her game. I can tell you why that's true. It's because last year, as a sponsor of our Future Business Leaders of America, she took students that are even filming in the back here to the national competition because they won the state competition representing the state of Georgia. That was last year. Again this year, she is taking students again to the Future Business Leader of America National Convention as they are state champions again, representing the state of Georgia. And she is the Region FBLA Advisor of the Year. So that's one person after 30 years that's retiring at the top of her game. Beside her, to her right, is Miss Mary Lou Grimes. And I'm sorry. To the right of Miss Mary Lou Grimes is Miss Louise Harwell. Miss Louise Harwell has an amazing 33-year career. And when I first began teaching again, we went to meet all of the teachers at some pond in some location in Newton County that I still have never been back to since. And they said to pair up. And me being a new teacher, I went to Miss Harwell, because I had heard that Miss Harwell was not only a Teacher of the Year, but a semi-finalist for the Georgia Teacher of the Year. So I figured if I was going to not get fired, this might be someone that I need to get to know and act and follow and be like her. What I didn't realize is that there was no way that I could act, follow, or be like her, because her heart is so big, her knowledge is so expansive, and she is one of the icons of Eastside teachers. If we were to construct a monument similar to Mount Rushmore and put the faces of Eastside teachers on it, Miss Harwell's face would be on there, but she wouldn't be stoic like our founding fathers. She'd have a big smile and probably a tear that's rolling down right now. And people would come to see her. And I know that because every day about this time of year, or every year about this time of the end of the school year, as the kids that have been to college and gotten done with their semester and they have a little bit of free time and high school still in session, they come in the afternoon and they check in. And they're not here to see me. They're coming in because they want to go down to Miss Harwell's room and they want to say thank you. They want to tell them how they're doing, tell her how they're doing, and give her a big hug and a big thank you. And so that's Miss Harwell. And finally, beside her, to her right, is Miss Debbie Aldridge. And Miss Debbie Aldridge has put in 30 years. And I could tell you, because I've seen firsthand, that Miss Aldridge can show you how to factor a trinomial with the lead coefficient not equal to 1. She can show you how to find the height of a tree just by using a tape measure and a little handheld device that gets the angle of elevation and use a trigonometric function. She can do that. I've seen it firsthand. She could do that. I've seen her in her instruction be detailed, precise. I've seen her be patient. I've seen her have a big heart. I've seen all those things because my first year teaching, again, I stepped into B6 and she had the room right beside mine, B4. And everything that I was doing or attempting to do in a classroom and the zoo that it was creating as a typical first year teacher, I would pop out of that room breathing heavy, almost like I was in some sort of emergency, and look around there and I would see math education at its prime optimal level. And then I would say, oh, that's a good idea, and pop back into my room. And that's the type of example Miss Aldridge has been. She has been a department chair, and as her teachers have reported back from her math department that she is the example. She has been the one that they have modeled themselves after, that she has been the rock that has held them together and provided glue for their whole department. All of these people here have put a fingerprint on Eastside High School, and their careers are lasting imprints that will forever affect our students and our staff. And so let's give them a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of Newton High School, we'd like to congratulate these three ladies, these retirees, on reaching such an important milestone. I'll start on my far left. We have Miss Connie Benish. Miss Benish is one of our ESOL teachers, and those students who are in the ESOL program, English is a second language for them. They come from all over the world. And if you know anything about language, when you do not speak English here as your natural primary language, it's hard to make friends. And these students are often pretty quiet, they're sheltered. I want to commend Ms. Benish. She has been a mother to children who just have not had anybody to be there for them. We thank you for what you've done. She has truly been a voice for the voiceless at Newton High School. In the middle, we have Miss Annie Terrell. Miss Annie is one of our custodial members. She works our night shift. If you look at her dress, she actually went to work. We are now at the table trying to convince her not to go back to work after we leave here tonight. Miss Annie is a quiet person, but she's always working. Every time I would see her, work. Anytime there was an issue, because as you know, when we all work together, sometimes we have little issues to pop up. Miss Annie's name was never in it. And she focused on work, she focused on the business, and that's a dying skill these days. Then we have Miss Johnny Mae Johnson. Miss Johnny Mae was a custodian for us, one of our head custodians. She retired back in December. She was one of the first people I met when I arrived at Newton High School back in 2010. She took care of me. She made sure that I was always smiling. She wanted to make sure I was eating, that I was healthy, because she was trying to keep me going. And she was the custodian that took care of my office. I don't trust many people with the key to my office. And many of you principals, you understand that. I could trust Miss Johnny Mae with that key. She was very, very supportive, is very supportive. She reminds me so much of my very own mother, and that's the way she treated me, like a son. With that being said, I'd like to again congratulate these three retirees, and we wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Miss Polly Johnson is leaving the business office and I am so unhappy. We stole her many years ago from the Human Resources Department, and the reason we wanted her was because she makes delicious cinnamon rolls and chocolate layer cakes. But it turns out she's a really hard worker and a great, great friend, and we love her and we'll miss her.
It's my pleasure to introduce you to Carl Daniel, one of our maintenance and operations staff members for the past 29 years. He's spent a lot of days keeping buildings clean, cutting grass, maintaining buildings, and most of all, he spent the last 14 years keeping Sharp Field sharp for every football game for 14 years. And we really appreciate all the hard work that Carl has done, but most especially, I think all the athletes appreciate him for the pride that they have in football games at Sharp Field. Carl retired in December, and it kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting him to leave us quite so soon, but I think he decided that it was time for him to go fishing, and he has been doing that quite faithfully, I think, since then. I've heard that he has a secret fishing hole on some river in Newton County that he won't tell me, not even which river it is. But if you earn his trust and he knows you can fish, he might take you there. So thank you very much, Carl. We miss you, and we hope you're having a wonderful time. And will you come back and line Sharp Field again for us?
This is my route. This is going to be my kid's bus driver. And she drove my husband.
She was talking about that the other night.
Good evening. Tonight you have before you three of the finest bus drivers in Newton County who have reminded me to keep this very short as they have to get up very early in the morning. I'm going to start with Pam Ballard. Pam Ballard's daddy was a school bus driver in Newton County for over 50 years. In fact, he was the first school bus driver in the county. Now, after driving a school bus for over 37 years, Pam is retiring, and I must say I have mixed emotions. Joy and, of course, happiness. There are a lot of people that you really have to work with to get them out of their shell. Pam is one of those people that you really have to think about how you can get them back in the shell. Pam has been a great bus driver. She will be missed a lot, and I know she will miss her kids. I wish her all the best. I know she will enjoy her retirement with her husband in North Georgia. Thank you, Pam, very much. Beverly Hull. Beverly has worked for the school system since 1996. Yesterday, a couple of days ago, we met in my office, and I asked her, I said, Beverly, I'm going to have to say something nice. So we're going to have to come up with something. Unfortunately, we left that meeting without having come up with really anything. What I can say about Beverly is you can count on her to give you her honest opinion, whether you ask for that or not. You can also count on Beverly to make you laugh. And there are days when that is really, really important. Beverly, we will all miss that very much. Beverly, it's been fun, and I thank you. Tom Price. Tom Price has been with the school system since 2003. What I like most about Tom is that he never complains that much. Tom has made over 2,000 trips to Atlanta in the last 4 years with no accidents, collisions, mishaps, call for help. This is a major accomplishment in transportation. During Tom's time here, he has consistently demonstrated what it means to be committed to a job and committed to children. Tom, I truly appreciate it, and I hope you enjoy your retirement in North Carolina. Thank you all for what you have done. You have earned my utmost respect, and I truly appreciate the work you have done here. Thank you.
I'd like to recognize our final retiree, Dr. Gary Matthews. I was told to keep this very short and sweet. So, and I asked Dr. Matthews if there was anything in particular to say, and he said no, just keep it short. But he came to us in 2010, and I think that was your 21st year serving as school superintendent. And then, this year is your, okay. And you've been in education for 41 or 38 years, excuse me, 38 years. When he came to us, we were moving off the wrong path, I think, and he put us back on the correct path, and we've succeeded on that path. And just it's proven just in the past few weeks in our school testing scores that his leadership and guidance has made us improve, made our school, all of our schools just progress more and more. And we are very proud and very thankful for him for leading us in the right direction. And Ms. Fury, you've got big shoes to fill. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'll try to be fairly brief. I know the winner of American Idol awaits, so we do have to get home here shortly. GW, throughout this entire school year, I would look at Kathy Allen and Diane Hampton and ask, where's GW's check? I got to sign it. And I missed signing your check for all this year, GW. Not really, but GW is one of the finest persons I've ever met. Great, great principal. I now have ringing in my left ear called tinnitus. I have these floaters that happen in front of both eyes called floaters. And looking at the years of experience, when you finally determine that your years of experience as you retire more than anyone else is in the room, you know it's time. And so perhaps indeed it's time. In some ways I feel like it's gone too soon. Some of you know my personal story. My father, who is my hero for many, many reasons, asked me to give him some time. And I'm going to do that, and I look forward to doing that in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I'm very, very blessed. I not only have a wonderful 83-year-old father, my mother's now deceased of some 10 years or so, but my father's brother and his 4 sisters and all of my first cousins out the gazoo, in addition to my own 5 children, my 2 beautiful twin grandsons, Luthen, I'm getting nervous, Luke and Ethan, as well as my wife's family, which is her brother, her sister, their several kids and their kids. It's a big, loving family. And I am so blessed to be amongst them, a family of educators, many of my first cousins, from principals and teachers and the like. And I guess I've been the superintendent, the black sheep in the family, I suppose, all these years. But I've worked with some of the most wonderful educators in America during my 38 years, not the least of which are in this room in Newton County. I'm very, very proud of the progress this school system has made. I think in the recent editorial I read, it says we're almost to be. Well, that's good. It's not where we want to be, but I think it's better than perhaps where we were. And that's because of you. And if there's one thing I've learned a lot of things, but there is certainly one thing, educationally speaking, with the Board of Education present tonight, that I would share tonight about improving student learning, not to neglect the lives of children, literally, It is that the school superintendent, and I'm so glad that Samantha Fury will be my successor, and I hope you're glad as well that she'll be the next superintendent of Newton County. Let's hear it for Samantha. She deserves it. What I have learned in 21 years as a school superintendent is that if the school superintendent is intensely focused on improving learning and learning opportunities for children, the rest of you in here, the support staff in here, the teachers especially, and the principals too, they take him or her to heart and they work their derriere off to improve the learning and lives of kids. And as I look back on the data when I arrived and look back at the recent 63% improvement of the last 3 years of our elementary schools, 82% improvement of our middle schools, and 83% improvement of our high schools over the last 3-year period, with prospects for that being even much greater with the recent results that we saw this week for CRCTs, and our fingers are crossed for the EOCTs, I'm very, very proud of how in a very short time we certainly are on the right trajectory, and that's because of you. But the school superintendent has to set a framework within which teaching for learning for all is what the organization is primarily about. It has to be the main mission. And I guess I'll end my professional remarks, if you will, lacking better terms, with kind of where I started my career way back when, and actually started in the New Orleans public schools, but started my administrative career for the most part in the Jackson, Mississippi public schools. A large school district at the time of very poor children, still is. A school district that had not done well for a very long time, but now does. And Robert Fortenberry brought 2 of the country's most preeminent researchers and educational advocates to work in Jackson with us. One died just prior to my arriving. His name was Ron Edmonds. He was the father of the Effective Schools movement, who argued through his research that all children could learn if people like teachers and principals and superintendents and support staff did things right and on behalf always of children. Larry Lizotte was his cohort at Michigan State, who's now been a very long time friend of mine. He worked with us and I was present during his time in Jackson during my 6 years there. But Ron Edmonds said something that has always stuck with me, and I've heard Larry repeat it a number of times. Now, my own children, my daughter lawyer and my 33-year-old son who runs Pilot Regional Stores, and my 30-year-old son who is a X-ray CAT scan technician at a huge hospital in Florida, my 27-year-old daughter who's a nursing student, and my 24-year-old son who's a PhD student in biochemistry at LSU. They're all really bright kids. They take after their mother. They're really bright kids. Top of the line learners. All of them, some better than others, but top of the line learners. But throughout my career, my 38 years as a teacher and administrator, not only did I want to push those kids, and looking at our exceed scores, Ms. Fury, our exceed scores this year are through the roof for grades 3 through 8. So this year we not only taught all the kids, we taught the kids even at the top, even in a more profound way. So whether at the bottom, at the top of the academic scale, we did very, very well. But Ron Edmonds says this, and I'll let you contemplate it, but we're gaining on what he admonished us. He said, we can, whenever and wherever we choose, successfully teach all children whose education is of interest to us. Whether or not we do it must finally depend on the fact that we haven't so far. And with that, Ron Edmonds gave me my challenge for a professional lifetime. And Ron would be proud, you'd be proud, Ron, looking down on this audience, that we're gaining on his admonishment of all of us. That said, closing remarks to be sure, soon most of you here tonight will leave your respective schools or offices for maybe the last time. Some of you have already begun your retirement. With you will go the accumulated memories of many years of service to the Newton County schools, times filled with work and laughter, memories of friendship, hardships and comfort, and hopefully memories filled with pleasure and pride. These memories are inevitable and important to you, but what is important to us, your co-workers and friends, is that we have had the privilege of knowing you and working with you. Having earned your retirement, we are delighted that you will finally be getting time for yourself. At the same time, we realize that when you leave, there will occur a very real and significant loss to these public schools. You have been a part of what has been our school system and made it a very solid educational institution that it is today. We will miss you and are thankful for the work in our school system and for our time together with you. May God be with all of you in the many years to come. And with that, I'm going to ask the Vice Chair of the Board of Education, Shaquila Henderson Baker, come forward. And as she does, thank you, members of the board, for giving me the privilege to serve as your superintendent.
Okay, so if you have to open the doors to the school in the morning, cook breakfast in the morning, or teach at the elementary school, you have been waiting on me. Because now we're at the benediction. But before I say the benediction, I want to remind everybody that Ms. Sherry Davis-Vineyard, our Director of Public Relations, is available to take pictures of you with your family and administrator if you wish. Please let your supervisor know that you would like to take a picture with him or her, though, so that you can make sure they stay. Okay. Now, in closing, also, I would like to once again thank our retirees for giving of themselves for the betterment and advancement of the educational system in Newton County. By word and deed, your presence has enriched our lives. The time you gave and the talents that you shared have bettered the school system and the youth of this county. Please bow your head and join me in prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, today we are here to honor the many retirees gathered here with us. We are grateful they chose Newton County as their place of work. Throughout their careers, they touched the lives of numerous children in our county, and now, as their careers draw to a close, we pray that you will bless each one of them. In your name we pray, amen. Thank you guys for all your service.